Hey everyone, Mars from Continents here. We're going to go over Sentinels. A lot simpler than the first boss, but there's some things here that you kind of need to pay attention to. So, standard 2 target boss, they need to be separated 40 yards, and they will give you stacks when you're too close to them. So it is um, very similar to the dinosaur boss, Intermission Undermine in terms of that. Mechanics are much different, but that philosophy is somewhat the same. So there's a few things here. The first thing is you are going to have these toxic droplets. They were slightly bugged on PTR. I will talk about that. But so the blobs are going to spawn near players and must be stepped on within 20 seconds. And when you hit them, they do a lot of damage. There's some merit in the maybe rotating immunities during harder sets. We didn't have to do that in testing. And the blobs are going to fly back to the poison boss after you step on them. So we use raid strats now so we can do animations. So you can see here, we're gonna have both groups hit the blobs, and now the blobs are going to come back to the boss. And this is extremely dangerous. So if you're a melee DPS, being positioned here means you're probably safe. Being positioned over here means you're in a lot of danger. So that's one of the first few things to kind of keep in mind with this fight. Now, the second thing to kind of keep in mind here is there's going to be a big ad. This ad, it just kind of spawned near the boss. Maybe it was on the tank. We couldn't really figure out exactly. Um, it just needs to die. It starts doing pulsing damage. Um, so depending on tuning, depends if you need to hard swap to it or not. I do not have an answer for that. Um, so yeah, those are some of the core mechanics. Now the blood boss is going to do it's going to put a blood venom dot on you, and when the dot expires, it's going to drop a puddle. Um, Now, actually, let me back up before we do this. So really quick, with these toxic droplets, the bug on PTR, where sometimes they're going in here, they have a giant green light over them. So if they were ever spawning in the bad stuff, that's the only way you could tell. So that was very annoying. So like I was saying, you're gonna have blood drops and then a group soak. So you can see here, uh, if you drop here, move. And we'll go over the video in a second. All right, and then there's going to be a group soak as well that everyone needs to get into. All right. And then the tank ability applies a really long blood venom debuff, and it spawns a very large puddle, uh, uh, which generally times out right after the intermission ends. So I'll show that in a second. Let's go into the VOD before we go over this. Actually, yeah, let's do that.
They were technically supposed to do this
Where's
is we
Buddy,
do
please,
this drop
buddy?
here.
So you can see we're starting in 2 groups here. And bring the boss over. So this is the poison boss. The poison boss is going to spawn the ad, which you're going to see right here. And where is it? And also, you're going to notice these are the things that are come out and shoot at the boss. You can't stand in the way. So the poison boss is going to come here. Adds out. This is very easy because it's within the first 20 seconds. So some people have their CDs and the ads just get cleaved. Now these are the things, you pick them up and they do a ton of damage to you. Notice once you hit them, it's going to cause lines. It's happening on the other side. So you're seeing some things come over here. All right. Now, that's really it for the poison boss. This here, did we see them? Yeah. So this is the mythic mechanic. Now we can talk about this. So it's going to place orange circles around 8 players, 4 on each side, and you're just going to run into another player to clear it. If you run into another player, it's going to knock back and do heavy damage. So you need to pre-spread before it comes out. It's an extremely easy, unbelievably easy mechanic. So you're going to see here, we're calling for pre-spread, melee, range, and it's happening on the other side as well. That's it. They cleared the mythic mechanic in one go. So now the bosses are going to go in the middle, and the easiest way to do this here is honestly, you just need to get the green to count to 4. I mean, I know there's going to be people in the comments being like, the red count to 4 too, but just keep everyone on the same page. Green to 4. Green to 4. So if you have this, you look for this. If you have this, you look for this. If you have a 2 stack, you look for another 2 stack. You have infinite time to do this mechanic, unless they come in on Monday night and divide the time needed to do it by 2. You literally could just AFK for 10 seconds. So the easiest way to do this is ban blinks, ban movement speeds, ban charges, ban everything, and slowly walk to people and clear. And that's it. So we'll show this in the VOD. So we're still pre-spreading. We'll see what he gets. So he gets a 3, all right? So let's analyze the situation. You get AFK. Well, behind you is a 2. In front of you is 2 2s. Oh, there's a guy that's a 1 here and 1 here. So that's what he decides to do. So he's like, okay, this guy's going to connect. This guy's coming over here. I don't want to touch him. That would be an insta-wipe. Oh, here's a guy. Let me go to him. And then there's usually 2 people left, and they just find each other. You do not need to be fast. You can be very, 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 very slow. All right, we'll show it again. So we'll do the blood guy real quick. This guy's a little tougher, I'd say. Well, I wouldn't say that. Dodging the green, having your melee dodge the green lines is probably hardest, but this boss has a few more things to it. So you'll still have the greens here. So you pick them up. They're gonna shoot the things across the room. Here's the group soak. So it's really important to get everyone in here because you can see with just one person out, this paladin didn't make it in, and it did 50% of health, right? So they're trying, and he was late because he was trying to soak the things. So it's pretty important to soak them quickly. Just grab 1, maybe 2, get the group soak, then you spread. We saw this in the animation. And you could be asking, why aren't we just stacking up? Well, if you stacked up with the blood would just like poop out of itself. So it's just better to just spread out like that. And then you have your really mobile classes on the inside, um, and less mobile classes on the outside. All right. So, can we repeat? Get the group soak, everyone in. Everyone fans out. Everyone drops. He doesn't have timers, but I'm assuming there's going to be a pre-spread next. Oh, yep, we're doing droplets next. So this is a situation where it kind of sucks because you can see it's in the pool. And then it is during the Mythic mechanic. So this is a pretty dangerous part, I'd say. But again, take your time. Also, be a keen eye. This was causing some problems. See this right here? That is due to, I think, someone kind of greeting and trying to hit both bosses. But you can't leave those out there. So you see this right here? I think that's actually me taking it. But yeah, so you gotta be really careful with baiting in the middle. Now again, we're more disorganized here because of those bad soaks. So we're trying to stay spread. We're taking a ton of damage, but again, just like think about this. He's standing still. He locates a 1. He sees 2 2 here, and there's a 1 here. He's seeing what happens. He doesn't rush. 2, waiting, because if he hits this guy, it's going to add up to, 5, and then they die, and a giant pool falls. All right, 1, good, good. So again, take your time, swap, repeat. That's literally the whole encounter. So this is what this is. 28 seconds again. Um, Slightly cut off here. You can copy the replans and pull it up. But um, there's like a weird interaction with the tank puddle that I didn't show, and the intermission timer. It's just a note. But the in short is So here's the tank that I was talking about. The in short is you do this. So you can see group soak 1, tank debuff, group soak 2, 3, tank debuff, group soak 4, 5, tank debuff, 6. So you're kind of moving around the room, all right? And then by here, I think you'll be hitting Enrage. So this is the general idea. And then this is like the absolute most 1000% optimal drop strategy we could think of. So this is like if the boss is going to take 8 minutes and is so unbelievably tightly tuned and we have no space, this is something we may have to do. So I wouldn't worry about that. The basic drop pattern is definitely all you're probably going to need. So slide 9 is more theoretical. Other than that, I think I hit all the mechanics. Hopefully I didn't miss one. We did end up killing the boss, but you can see near the end, yeah, they did a drop here, they move, mythic mechanic, and that's it. So it's really just a repeat. If you can just nail that memory mechanic, or the counting mechanic really, it is pretty GG. But like I said, other than that, if you have any questions, reach out. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.